The hum of the vacuum cleaner was my only companion in the vast, empty office building. Floors polished to a mirror sheen, desks wiped clean, trash bins emptied. This was my world after everyone else had gone home. My name is Elena, and for the past 6 months, I've been working as a cleaner here. It's honest work, but too many, it makes you invisible. Or worse, it makes you a target for their judgment. One evening, I was cleaning near the main conference room. The lights were still on, and I could hear voices from inside. It was a group of young executives, the ones with sharp suits and even sharper ambition. I usually tried to stay out of their way, but their conversation drifted into the hallway, loud and clear. "Can you believe this place?" One of them said, his voice dripping with disdain. "They spend millions on art for the lobby, but pay minimum wage to the people who actually keep it from looking like a pigsty." Another voice, a woman's, chimed in with a laugh. "Seriously, my mum always told me if I didn't study hard, I'd end up like them. Scrubbing toilets for a living." My hands tightened on the handle of the cleaning cart. It felt like a physical blow. They weren't just talking about a hypothetical them. They were talking about me. I was right outside the door. Did they think I couldn't hear, or did they just not care? A third man added, "It's a shame. Really, no ambition, just content to be at the bottom of the food chain." The bottom of the food chain. The words echoed in my mind. I took a deep breath, my heart pounding. I could just walk away, pretend I didn't hear, and let their words fester. It would be the easy thing to do. But something inside me snapped. I had spent months being invisible, being looked through, being judged by my uniform. Tonight, that was going to change. I turned off the vacuum, the sudden silence making the hallway feel even bigger. I straightened my back, pushed the conference room door open, and walked in. The three of them looked up, startled. Their smug expressions faltered, replaced by a flicker of surprise and then annoyance at the interruption. "Excuse me," I said, my voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through me. "I couldn't help but overhear your conversation." The woman who joked about scrubbing toilets scoffed. "And we're having a private conversation." "It stopped being private when you started talking about me," I replied, looking each of them in the eye. "You talk about ambition. You talk about ending up at the bottom of the food chain. Let me tell you a little something about ambition." I walked over to the head of the long, polished conference table. "My name is Elena, and yes, for the last 6 months, I've been the person who cleans your offices. I've wiped down your desks, emptied your trash cans filled with expensive lunch receipts, and cleaned the coffee you spill without a second thought." They exchanged uncomfortable glances. The first man who spoke started to look a little pale. "I see how you look at me," I continued. "Or rather, how you don't look at me. You see this uniform, and you see someone without a future, without dreams. You see someone less than you." I paused, letting the weight of my words fill the silent room. "You're right about one thing. I am ambitious. In fact, my ambition is probably what led me here 6 months ago. I acquired a controlling stake in the parent company that owns this entire firm. The silence was deafening. Jaws literally dropped. The woman's face went from smug to horrified in a split second. The man who talked about the food chain looked like he was about to be sick. You're kidding," one of them stammered. "Do I look like I'm kidding?" I asked, my voice calm and firm. I wanted to understand this company from the ground up, not from a shareholder report or a boardroom presentation. I wanted to see it for what it truly is. The people, the culture, the way we treat each other when no one important is watching. I gestured around the room, and tonight you've shown me everything I need to know. You've shown me a culture where disrespect is casual, where empathy is lacking, and where you judge a person's worth by the job they do, not the content of their character. I looked directly at the woman. For the record, my mother also told me to study hard, but she also taught me to respect every single person, regardless of their profession. She taught me that the person who cleans the floor is just as important as the person who runs the company. Because without them, the whole place falls apart. I then turned to the others. You talk about ambition as if it's only about climbing a corporate ladder. My ambition is to build a company where everyone feels seen, valued, and respected. A place where you would dare speak about a colleague the way you just spoke about me. I walked back towards the door, my point made. So, let me give you a piece of advice. The next time you see a cleaner, a security guard, or a receptionist, I want you to remember this conversation. I want you to remember that you have no idea who they are, what battles they're fighting, or what they're capable of. That unseen worker might just be your new boss. I left them there, in stunned silence. Their faces a mixture of shock, fear, and shame. I walked back to my cart, turned my vacuum cleaner back on, and continued my work. The hum of the machine felt different now. It wasn't the sound of invisibility anymore. It was the sound of quiet power. The next morning, I walked into the building not in my cleaner's uniform, but in a tailored suit. The looks on their faces when they saw me walk into the CEO's office were priceless. Change was coming to this company from the ground up. The lesson here is simple but profound. Never, ever underestimate anyone. Every job has dignity, and every person deserves respect. The true measure of a person isn't their job title or the size of their paycheck, but how they treat those they believe are beneath them. Thank you for watching. Remember to be kind, and if you enjoyed this story, please like, share, and subscribe for more. See you next time.